Assalamu alaikum, namaste, haru nefer. This is Qesankh Keperu with another exciting video. And in this video, I'm going to be giving you my James Gunn Superman movie review. I'm also going to be decoding the movie because it has a lot of embedded messages in there. But before I do that, I want you to hit the like button on this video. If this is your first time to my channel, hit the subscribe bell to get notifications on when I go live and when I upload recorded videos. If you want to know more about my spiritual teachings, you can become a Patreon supporter for as little as $1, $5, or $20 per month. It's up to you. You can cancel at any time. And as a member, you will get exclusive access to white papers, articles that I write, instructional videos on the esoteric, videos that will teach you how to meditate, how to communicate with the ancestors, how to do money rituals, basically how to do astral projection, a whole lot of great stuff. So become a member today. As I said, there's no obligation. You can cancel at any time. Last but not least, share this video with family and friends so that we can get the revolution started. Grand Rising, Namaste. How have you guys been? I know I've been out of commission for a little bit, just, tying up some loose ends, working on some other projects, but I'm glad to be back. And I want to talk about James Gunn, the director of Superman, starring David Cornswet, who makes a pretty good Superman. I was very, very impressed. I caught the movie the first opening weekend because I wanted to show my support. And for those of you who don't know, because I do talk about it on this channel, I am a filmmaker, and my first feature-length film, Bugged, that I directed and starred in, my music guy on that film was James Gunn. I was working with him way back when in 1997. Now, many people in the movie, who went to see Superman complain about the music because they felt that it shouldn't be so punk rock. Well, that's the type of person James Gunn is. He's a very artistic and unique person. And in working with him on that film, I got to know a lot about him. I gained some insight as to how he thinks, how he works. And I hired a music composer to compose the entire film, the music for the entire film. And when I met up with James Gunn, he kind of like plopped all these CDs on my desk, and he was like, "These are punk groups that I think would be appropriate for Bugged." And I was like very hesitant. I said, "I don't know if I'm really into punk that much. I mean, I do like it, but I already have a score." But I promised I would take it home and listen to it. And there was one particular group that actually blew me away. I loved it so much. Not only did I include it in the film, but I threw away the track that the music composer created just to include that music from the punk group at the very end of Bug. So if you check that out, you'll hear the music, and you'll know that I threw away the composer's track for that ending, which I don't think he was very happy with me. But James was right on point. James Gunn also shot the commercial for Bugged. And it was a funny commercial because he called me up. He says, Troma wants me to direct the commercial. I was like, oh, okay. He was like, I want you to star in it. I was like, cool. And he says, I wrote the script, and you're going to have to eat some crickets in the film, because those were the bugs we had in the film, Bugged. I said, sure. And I was super reluctant about this. The day of shooting came, and I kind of gleaned the type of director that James Gunn was. And I noticed that he was high energy. He was just all over the place, high energy, kept things moving, never let people just sit around or do anything. When it came to my part, where I had to reach into this bag and pull out a bunch of crickets and eat them, I looked at James. I said, I can't do this. There's no way I'm going to do this. And he was quick. He was like, all right, get out of here. Get out of here. And he brought in somebody who actually did. The guy, I don't know if we planned to have the backup or whatever, but the guy was there. He reached in. He ate the crickets. And he was like, I love Bugged, or something he said to that effect. But it was really cool being directed by him. And of course, lo and behold, he goes off to become the president of the studio. And I remember him saying near the end of Bug that he was going to move to California, and he wanted me to come with him and get an apartment with him, and that we could just try to break into the Hollywood system. And at that time, I couldn't do it because I wanted to finish Bugged in New York. And he was true to his word. Right after Bug was done, he just moved to California and started doing movies. He did Scooby-Doo and a lot of other movies, worked his way up. And now look where he's at, getting paid $15 million to direct Superman, which was awesome. But I want to talk about some things in the film that he included, which I think are elements that are so deep and speak to what's going on behind the curtain, because Hollywood tends to tell on itself, and it also exposes the oligarchy, the ruling elite. So there will be some spoilers here, and if you haven't seen the film and you don't want to hear any of the spoilers, stop right now, okay? Because there's going to be spoilers. The film, I felt, had a mass-wide appeal, and he included one character that I thought would just really cement the film's success, which was Krypto, the Superdog. And I have not seen a live-action depiction of Krypto in any Superman film, so including Krypto in this film, I was like, that's a stroke of genius. It's the same way when we had Baby Yoda. Everybody fell in love with Baby Yoda, and lo and behold, I was right. Everybody was talking about how great Krypto was, and Krypto was great. I really liked seeing him. In fact, I wanted a dog after watching the movie, and he said what inspired to put Krypto in the film was his dog. He had a rescue dog. So he thought it would be really cool to have Krypto. And it turns out that Krypto in this film belongs to Supergirl, which, goes against what we always were taught, that Krypto belongs to Superman, Kal-El. But it's a nice change. He did some really unique things with this film in terms of, I don't want to say subverting expectations, but just changing the lore in a way. The other thing that was really good in this film, and I want to talk about, was Mr. Terrific. He has a scene, and it's played by the actor Eddie Gathetti. If you guys don't remember him, he played, I think, Darwin in the X-Men. And he was given a raw deal in that film. They killed him off so quickly. So this film makes up for it. So Eddie Gathetti plays Mr. Terrific, a superhero. He's actually a millionaire, computer genius wizard. And he makes his debut in this film. And it's just spectacular. The scene is that the breakout scene that everybody loves, I even was impressed with, was when he protects Lois Lane from Lex Luthor's army. And when I say army, I mean army. He basically puts a force field around Lois Lane. And with his T-spheres, these floating globes, he takes out the members, the soldiers, and he uses his hands to control the T-spheres, and he's also beating the soldiers up. It's just a scene that is wild. Now, I want you to, if you've seen the movie, or if you're going to see the movie, I want you to focus on this scene. It's very, very important, because in cinema, especially black cinema, when you look at that scene, there are some nods to other movies like Birth of a Nation, or more importantly, King Kong. We know that King Kong, if you're not familiar with what really the film is about, it sent off a subliminal message to communicate to white women and white men that the white woman must be protected against the black beast, King Kong, which represents black men. That the white woman may have a tendency to fall for the beast, you know. And that's the whole theme of what Birth of a Nation was, is protecting white women from black men who were out there raping them and things of that nature. And we know that Birth of a Nation caused an increase in Klan membership. That film did so much destruction. D.W. Griffith's Birth of a Nation. That's the one I'm referring to. So in the film, you kind of see Lois Lane looking at Mr. Terrific beating up Lex's soldiers. And the way I describe it is this: she gets wet. She's like looking at him in awe about how he can take all these men out and women. And it really impresses her and impresses us, the audience. And going back to the whole symbolism, the force field is that the white woman must be protected. And that's what Mr. Terrific does. He protects her with that force field while beating up Lex's army. But yet, he can't touch Lois Lane, and he's not supposed to. That's how the mythos goes. King Kong is not supposed to be with Fay Ray, you know. The black man is not supposed to be with the white woman. So that is what I kind of gathered from that. Just that one scene. It was just another depiction of how white women can fall for black men, but they must be at the same time pedestalized and also protected. And that scene plays everything out. But Eddie Cathetti did a great job. The only thing that I had a problem with how he played the role was he was using this like 70s jive talk. He's like, you know, it's outdated, you know. He was like, shit, man, I'm Mr. Terrific, you know. I'm like, wow, why does he have to talk like that, you know? The other thing that I want to point out about the film is that, and this is directed to independent black filmmakers, we see that men in Hollywood, like James Gunn, are breaking down the walls for African Americans, or ADOS, or FBA, by including black characters, like a Black Panther, like a Mr. Terrific. They don't have to do this. Stan Lee didn't have to do what he did. But these characters that they're introducing that are black should be done by us. Do you understand? We should be creating these black superheroes. But the independent films that we are writing and directing are nothing but showing us having guns or doing some buffoonish stuff, like Got to Get Paid. That's the name of an actual independent film, Got to Get Paid. Always something buffoonish. Now, the problem with what we see in these films, that these white directors, even though we have to give them much thanks and praise for creating these black characters and actually forcing Hollywood to depict them, is that they're not originally our characters. Like Mr. Terrific, the original Mr. Terrific, I think, was Terry Sloan, a white guy. And a character, Michael Holt, came along, and Terry Sloan passed the mantle on to Michael Holt, the black character. Just like we see with the Green Lantern. You know, the black Green Lantern, Jon Stewart, I believe his name is. If I'm wrong, correct me. The original Green Lantern was white, and he became, the black guy became the Green Lantern, Jon Stewart. But why isn't that we don't have original characters that we create and that we put on the big screen? Not Hollywood, you know? Why aren't we making films like that? But hold on a second. Let me just make sure I got this right. Because I should know this name. Yeah, Jon Stewart, the Black Green Lantern. So the original white Green Lantern is Hal Jordan, who then, of course, passed the mantle on to Jon Stewart, the Black Green Lantern. But why isn't the characters that we are creating in our films? I want to give credit to our African brothers and sisters overseas, because if you look at their movies, they're dirt poor. You can see it that they're dirt poor. But they're creating these awesome science fiction films with these crazy special effects. I mean, if the effects don't look that great, but they're trying. We are not even trying. I can't think of one film, a narrative depiction of a black superhero that we created, original, that we created and produced as a feature film, independent. We're not doing that. I think our mind is just, we have this very myopic vision, and we're trapped in the ghetto mentality that everything has to include a slice of that. And it's wrong. It's wrong. You know? So we've got to do better. We've got to start making these films that are meant to inspire our next generation. When you have characters created by these white directors, there's always a chance that they will not understand the culture and then do a depiction that misses the mark. You know? So in order to prevent that, who better to write a black superhero than a black writer or a black director or filmmaker? So we've got to focus on that. But anyway, enough of that. Another thing in the film that I thought was brilliant, and another example of Hollywood really telling you how the oligarchy works, was there was a scene in the film, the very beginning, where Lex Luthor opens up this secret door in his office, and he steps through that door and suddenly is in like the Middle East, going from Metropolis to the Middle East. And he's asked by one of the political dictators, what is this that we're walking through? And he goes, it's a pocket universe. And the guy, the creature, there's a creature on like a barge who sails through the pocket universe. And you can see all these other people in there trapped in the pocket universe. And this is deep, because what they're telling you is not only are these portals being opened by the oligarchy, but they're also communicating with these interdimensional beings, because the being on the barge that sails through the pocket universe looks like an alien. And if you have been a supporter of my channel and you watch my videos, I talk about how the ruling elite communicate with these interdimensional beings to gain insight and knowledge. But we see, we're taught this Christian religion, which the global elite created to keep us away from that secret knowledge about the metaphysical things in the universe and how many things in our world works metaphysically. But we're taught just to understand and know just the physicality of things. And that's the end all and be all of everything. And that's not true. Even Nikola Tesla talked about if we explore these energies, these metaphysical principles, we'll gain the secrets of the universe. And the ruling elite have those secrets. But we're too trapped in going to church every Sunday, confined in left brain thinking, which is only understands the five sensory input, what you can see, hear, feel, taste, and nothing above that. And we've got to start to explore these things. We've got to, and African people, our ancestors, have already explored it. The problem is that knowledge has been lost. In ancient Kemet, Egypt, we explored interdimensional travel. We explored astral projection or traveling through the duat, or understanding what happens after death. We explored the Akashic records. We explored the planets that you can see at night. Yes, we did all of these things. But we're taught by the Christian religion that was put there specifically to imprison our minds, to keep us from an understanding of these things, an understanding of communicating with the ancestors, an understanding of communicating with spirits, angels. We're kept from that knowledge because we're told that those things don't exist, don't believe them. Yet science is now looking into dark matter or dark energy, black holes. They're now admitting that there are metaphysical principles which guide and control the physical world. That's a Hermetic law, as above, so below, from Hermes Trismegistus, thrice great. And all of this makes for exciting science fiction, exciting movies, if we would all only just sit down and put pen to paper and start writing this stuff, instead of just stuff about in the hood and so gets shot. To dream and aspire is the first step to dominating and taking over the world. The global elite, that is their vision. That's their goal, is global domination. And they're telling you this in all the films. Lex Luthor is a depiction of that. A brilliant genius who wants to be worshipped and who wants to control the world. Why aren't we writing characters like that? Instead, we're caught up in hip-hop and rap, saying that that's our culture, when in reality, what that's doing to us is destroying us. It's about degradation, destruction, on a physical and mental level. Yes, I said it. Rap, right now, as what it has metastasized to, is about mental and physical destruction. And we're going along with it. We're playing along with it. There's no reason why I should have to go to a film like Superman and enjoy it and walk away and not say, that black director did an awesome job. I'm tired of going to a film and always having to compliment the white director for doing something that we should be doing. Tyler Perry could do a superhero film. Spike Lee could do one. But we're not. I think Spike Lee has done a wonderful job in really just giving us a myriad view of black culture. So I won't come down on him. But Tyler Perry, all this man wants to do is show these degrading images of black women. And black women keep running to the theater, to see it. And it's the same old thing. Nothing's changed. Black woman gets beat by a black man. Light-skinned black man comes to the rescue. Dark-skinned black man is thrown in jail for all the things that he's done wrong to the black woman. She plays the victim every time. Nothing in the way of a hero that our kids can look up to. They did a film recently called Ironheart. Riri Williams. It was a series, 6 episodes. It was disastrous. They intentionally sabotaged that series to make her look like a villain. That's what happens when we don't control the IP, the intellectual property. They take it, they control it, and then they end up just sabotaging the character. We can do better, people. But going back to the symbolism, the meanings within the movie Superman, it is layered with messages that if you are so-called awake or conscious, you'll pick up on what it's trying to communicate. And, as I was watching the film, I was just smirking every now and then because I understood. I got it, It made sense. And it's brilliant writing in that way. To embed it, to embed the story with these secret nuggets that only those of us who research this information will know what he's talking about. Others will just enjoy it as entertainment and it won't go any further. But I just want you to start looking at these movies from a deeper perspective and also demand more from our filmmakers. No excuses. No excuses. We should be writing films on par with Hollywood and films like Superman. Because the playing field has become even. We now have software that can do amazing effects. Amazing effects. We have digital cameras that have become inexpensive. So now we can sit down and create some really cool stuff. We should be producing, in the black community, we should be producing directors like Stanley Kubrick, Steven Spielberg, George Lucas. But we're not. We're still caught up in the thug mentality. So that's all that we're producing. Even though we know it's a detriment to us. I mean, it's amazing it's amazing how even though that we fight each other, we filmmakers know how to bring together artists to work in harmony to produce the feature film. That's an amazing feat that you've accomplished. Then why not take it to the next level and produce some great work? No, we're still just pointing the camera and shooting it. And if we got an image, we go, that's great. I want a distribution deal, Hollywood. You see, filmmakers like Stanley Kubrick, Orson Welles, They used cinema. They used the images to create meaning, masterful pieces of work. Like if you look at the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey by Stanley Kubrick, there are images in there that were communicating a lot of symbolism. These filmmakers, they're masters of symbolism. They're masters of telling a story through visual images alone. Check out the movie Chinatown. The movie has very little dialogue, but it tells the story through visual images. Beautiful film. As I said, all we're doing was we're not even setting our shots up in such a way as to communicate symbolically. We're just shooting stuff and then moving on and then think that we're brilliant. We're not. We're not at all. So think about that. If this message resonates with you, please donate to the channel. I appreciate your time in watching today. And please go out there and take action. If you're an artist, if you're a filmmaker, go see Superman and then come back and write a masterful script. This is Qesankh Keperu, son of Ma'at and Tahuti. Ma'at is the beautiful goddess Heteru. Until my next video, Amen Ra.